When her husband died, the only thing Naomi Brennan had left of him was his dog, a 200-pound Boerboel with a head like a boulder and a black mask across a face that made strangers step off the sidewalk. And when Ray was gone, 26 different people told her the same thing. "You cannot keep a dog that size on your own," they said. "A grieving woman alone has no business with 200 pounds of animal like that. Give him to a shelter." Naomi could not do it. That dog was the last living piece of the man she had loved for 34 years. And on a freezing night in the woods months later, when she fell and could not get up and no one on earth knew where she was, that 200-pound Boerboel did the one thing that proved every single one of them wrong. He kept her alive until morning. This is the story of how the dog everyone told her to give away became the only reason she is still here. Naomi Brennan was 61 years old and lived on the edge of Bellingham, Washington, where the streets ran up against deep, wet, evergreen forest. She had lived in that house with Ray for most of her life, and when he died the spring before, the house became a very large and very quiet place. Her grown children lived states away and called on Sundays. Her friends did not quite know what to say to her anymore, and the grief was an ocean she did not know how to cross. But Ray had left her Gus. Ray had brought the Boerboel home as a pup 4 years earlier, over Naomi's strong objections, and the two of them had been inseparable, a big, gentle man and his big, gentle dog. And after the funeral, when the house was full of people telling Naomi to be practical, to think about her age, to rehome the enormous animal she now could not possibly manage alone, she had looked at Gus, lying by the door where he still waited for Ray to come home, and she had made her decision. Gus stays. What none of those people understood is that Gus was not a burden. He was the thing that got her out of bed. Gus had to be walked, so Naomi walked down the same wooded trails Ray used to take him, every single morning, rain or shine. Gus had to be fed, so Naomi cooked again. Gus leaned his enormous 200-pound weight against her in the evenings when the house was darkest and the missing was worst, and he slept on Ray's side of the bed, and some nights that was the only thing that let her sleep at all. There were mornings that first winter when the grief pressed down so heavily Naomi could not imagine getting through another empty day. And on those mornings, a 200-pound Boerboel would climb half onto the bed, rest his head on her chest, and wait until she put her feet on the floor. Gus refused to let her disappear into it, one slow morning at a time. The whole neighborhood thought she was a foolish old woman clinging to a dangerous dog. Naomi knew she was clinging to the one thing keeping her afloat. A retired man down the road named Frank told her flatly that a woman her age had no business with a dog that could pull her off her feet. Her own son, on the phone, gently and repeatedly suggested it might be time. And Naomi would look at Gus, who at that moment was usually sprawled across the couch snoring like a chainsaw, and think that none of them had the faintest idea what that dog was to her. I know you are still watching but have not subscribed yet, and after a dog like Gus, that stings a little. Tap subscribe. Everyone told this woman to give her dog away, and subscribing is how the world finds out why she didn't. The months passed, and slowly, with a 200-pound Boerboel at her side, Naomi began to find her feet again. The morning walks became the anchor of her days. She and Gus had a route, a long loop through the Whatcom woods and down along a rocky stretch of the creek, nearly 2 miles, that Ray had walked 1,000 times, and being on it made her feel close to him. It was the one part of the day that still felt like the old life. Gus ranging ahead and circling back, checking on her the way he always did, as if he had appointed himself her keeper the day Ray died. Naomi did not know it yet, but that was exactly what he had done. She knew every root and every stone, which is exactly why she was not being careful that cold afternoon in November when it happened. She had stepped off the main trail to let Gus drink at the creek, the way they always did, onto the wet rocks along the bank, and a mossy stone she had stepped on 100 times before rolled under her boot. Naomi went down hard, and she heard the snap before she felt it, and when she tried to stand, her ankle would not hold her, and the pain drove her back to the ground. She was a half-mile from the trail, deep in the trees, on a gray afternoon with the light already starting to fail. She reached for her phone. No signal. Not one bar this far into the woods, and the temperature was already dropping toward a night that the Pacific Northwest in November does not forgive. Naomi understood with a cold and total clarity exactly how much trouble she was in. No one was expecting her. No one would even know to look until her son could not reach her on Sunday, and that was days away. She was going to be out there, alone, in the freezing dark, with a broken ankle and no way to move. But she was not alone. The same dog the whole neighborhood had called dangerous, the same dog 26 people had told her to give away, the same 200-pound Boerboel everyone had sworn was too much for a grieving old woman to handle, did not run off, did not panic, did not leave. Gus lay down against her, all 200 pounds of him, pressing the length of his huge, warm body against her side, and he stayed. Night came, and with it a cold that sank into Naomi's bones, and she began to shiver and then to shake, and she knew what the cold could do to a person her age out all night. And every time the shaking got bad, Gus pressed closer, a 200-pound furnace of a body between her and the frozen ground, breathing his warm breath against her, refusing to move an inch. She buried her hands in his fur to keep them from going numb. The hours crawled. The cold was a living thing, and more than once Naomi felt herself go strange and warm and sleepy, the false comfort the cold gives right before it takes you. And every time, before she could slip under, Gus would push his great head into her and bark, sharp and close, and drag her back. He had lost Ray. He was not going to lose her too. She talked to him and to Ray through the longest and coldest night of her life, and every time she started to drift toward the kind of sleep you do not wake up from, Gus would stir and nudge her and pull her back. Gus did not sleep. He kept watch over her through the entire freezing night, exactly the way he had once kept watch over the man who raised him. When Naomi did not answer her phone that evening, her son, hundreds of miles away, felt something was wrong. He called Frank down the road. Frank found her car still parked at the trailhead at first light, and he called for help, and a search and rescue team started up the trail in the cold gray dawn, calling her name into a silent forest. And then they heard it, a deep, booming, endless bark echoing up through the trees from down along the creek, over and over, refusing to stop. They followed the sound of a 200-pound Boerboel calling them in, and they found Naomi half a mile off the trail, alive, hyperthermic but alive, wrapped in the warmth of the dog everyone had told her to give away. The paramedics said it plainly. A night like that one, at her age, exposed with that break, if she had been out there alone, they said she would not have survived until morning. The only reason she had was the enormous animal that would not leave her, that had spent the whole night giving her his warmth and refusing to let her slip away. Naomi wept when they told her, not only from relief, but because she understood something in that moment that she would carry for the rest of her life. Ray had known exactly what he was doing when he brought that dog home. Ray had left her the one thing that would save her life. Word spread through Bellingham the way news like that always does. Frank, the man who had said she had no business with a dog like that, showed up at the hospital and could barely speak. And when he finally could, he said he was sorry, and he asked if he could be the one to look after Gus until she came home. Her son booked the first flight, and the first thing he did when he walked into that hospital room was put his arms around a 200-pound Boerboel and cry into his fur. And he never suggested rehoming that dog again. The story spread far past Bellingham, picked up by a rescue that takes in more big, hard-to-place dogs than it can count, because for once, they had proof in a 200-pound Boerboel of exactly what the world keeps telling people to give away. Today, Naomi is healed, and she and Gus still walk those woods every single morning, though she is more careful on the rocks now. Gus still sleeps on Ray's side of the bed. He still leans his enormous weight against her in the evenings when the missing gets bad. And every night, in the quiet of that house, Naomi rests her hand on the head of the dog her husband left her, and she is not so alone. Because here is the truth that every single person who told her to give him away got wrong. A dog is not dangerous because of his size or his breed or the heavy shape of his head. What makes a dog is who he decides to belong to and exactly what he is willing to do to keep them safe. Gus belonged to Ray, and then he belonged to Naomi. And when the cold came for her in the dark, the dog everyone said was too much became the only thing that carried her through to morning. If you are thinking about keeping a big, powerful dog that everyone tells you is too much, please do not listen to the fear. Learn what he needs, give him your patience and your trust, and understand that sometimes the animal the whole world calls dangerous is the one who keeps you alive. Because Naomi did not save Gus. If you ask her, she will tell you with tears in her eyes that Ray saved her and that he did it with a dog. So let me ask you honestly, would you have kept a 200-pound Boerboel that everyone told you to give away, or would you have listened to them and let him go? Tell me in the comments. And if a dog ever carried you through the hardest night of your life, say their name below so the next person hesitating knows what these dogs are really worth.